friends, it's Josie. Welcome back to Two Sisters Homestead. So today we are doing 3 different recipes for Thanksgiving desserts. The pumpkin pie is just a classic pumpkin pie that we all love. It was really good. Another one is a different take on pecan pie. It's pecan pie bars, which is a little bit different, but it still tastes like your real pecan pie. A little bit easier to eat, and it was just so good. And then the next thing will be caramel cookies, which I have not tried before. So we are going to be trying those together and see how that goes. But it all looks super good. I know for sure the pumpkin pie and the pecan pie bars are delicious, and they don't even last in our house. So here I already have my mat. I made chicken and dumplings for lunch. So I just have this here because it's the same flour and stuff that I used for that, which is just now, which isn't going to hurt. So in a food processor, or you can do this by hand, you want to add in a cup of flour and a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. And we're just going to mix this up a little bit just so it can get incorporated. Okay, and now what we're going to do is cut our butter. You need 6 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to cut that into cubes. If you don't have a food processor to do this part, you really should get one, just because it's so much easier if you can do it in the food processor instead of by hand. And then you want to add that in. And then we're just going to cut in this butter until the butter comes like pebbles. And then that's when you know it's done. Okay, so I had this problem last time. So whenever you are mixing it together with your flour, it should, when it's done, come like you should be able to press it together. However, I'm not able to. So I did this last time. You just need to add a couple of tablespoons of water until it gets to how you want it. Okay, I think that is good. So this is how it looks whenever it's done. Now we have a 9x9 pan, and we lined it with our parchment paper. And then what you want to do is take this out. Remove this. And I'm gonna dump this all out on here. And then what I'm going to do is just press it all together just a little bit. And then we're just going to transfer it into our pan. And then for this, what you want to do is just press it all down in your pan so it's all even. Gotta make sure you get it as all over as you can. I'm a little short over here in one corner, but I think it'll be okay. Okay. And then now what you want to do is put this in a 350 degree oven for about 10 minutes until it gets a little bit fluffy. So while that is in the oven, we're going to start mixing up the topping for it, or the pie filling as you would call it. So you need a 1/4 cup of melted butter. You need a cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs. Do this. Teaspoon of vanilla extract, a 1/2 cup of dark corn syrup, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to whisk this up really good. And once that is mixed, you want to add in 2 cups of pecans. So you can leave them whole or you can cut them up. I personally liked it when I cut them up. So I just went to the store and got some pieces, and we're going to add that in and mix that as well. So now we're just going to let this sit, and we still have about 1.5 minutes on the pie crust. So as soon as that comes out, we'll take that out and let it cool just for a little bit so it's not too hot before we add our filling. While that's still in the oven or waiting for it to cool, we're going to start doing our pumpkin pie crust. So to this, let me add my blade back in. A good thing with doing multiple things at once is that you don't have to dirty up the dishes. You can just continue to use them because we use the same ingredients as we did for the pecan pie. So you want 1 1/4 cup of flour. You want 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of sugar. And now what you want to do is mix this up just a little bit to get that incorporated. And then we're going to add in 8 tablespoons of butter that is very cold, and you want it cubed. So I have my butter here. And then we're just going to add this in. And we are going to post it just like we did the pecan pie. So now what you want to do is add in 4 tablespoons of ice cold water. And then we're going to post this again until it all comes together. Add just a little bit more water. And now we are going to turn this out on a floured surface, which is here. Okay. And now we're going to put it all into a disc and make it look a little bit smoother. So now what we're wanting to do is just roll this out so that it can be fit into a 12-inch pie pan. And how I like to keep the circle shape is just keep on rotating it around and then roll, rotate, and then roll some more. And the good thing about this little thing, this pad that I have, which I got on Amazon, is it'll tell you like where you are. So it has a 12-inch circle so that you know if you're at your 12 inches or not, which is really cool and very helpful, I'd say. Okay, so now we want to get our pan, and with this pan I went ahead and greased it a little bit just so it won't stick, like there's no chances whatsoever for it to stick. And then now we're just going to fit in our crust. And you want to press it down a little bit, but not too firm. And then with some of these edges, we're going to trim those off. Okay, and now we're just going to do the crust however you want to do it. I'm just going to tuck it in just a little bit and then crimp it. Nothing special. And then I'm gonna add some of this to this area right here that got a little low. See if it'll work. Here we go. We'll see if that works or not. And now we're just going to put this in the refrigerator until we get done with our pie filling. So while that's in the fridge, and I'm about to have to finish my pecan pie. I'm going to dump this out and clean up my mess a little bit. I don't know. I was just gonna say. Yeah. You might want to eat with you. You might want to eat with you. Okay, so now we are going to add in our pecan pie mixture. I'm just going to give it one more mix just to make sure it's all nice and incorporated since it was sitting for a little bit. And now we're just going to pour that on top.
You want a drink? Is it a drink in there?
On this chair.
It's on your chair. Get it.
And then we're just going to even this out if it hasn't gotten there to its place. I'm also going to
What do you want?
do that, and we're going to put this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes.
You still got fruit up there and you got yogurt.
So now in our bowl, we're going to add in 15 ounces of pumpkin puree. If you have your own, you could use that as well. And then you want to add in 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar. Just like that. And then we need 3 eggs. One. 2. And 3. And then we want to add in 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then 1/2 cup of our whole milk. I'm going to add this in, and then we are going to whisk this all together. Just like that, and now we're going to start adding in our powdered ingredients. Okay, so now we want to add in our cornstarch. So we are going to do 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we need, it calls for like a bunch of different seasoning for pumpkin pie spice. However, there's no point of me doing all those when I can just do the pumpkin pie spice that has all those in it. So we're probably gonna do about 2.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And then we're going to whisk this together. Make sure you scrape in your sides. Make sure you get all of that in. And then this mixture is done. We're just going to wait for our pecan pie bars to get done before we put this in the oven, just because it's at a different temperature, and I don't want to have to worry about trying to figure out how much time if I use a little bit less of a temperature. But that's okay, because then it gives me time to clean up my mess, do everything I need to do to get prepared for what we're going to be doing next, which is the salted caramel cookies, which I'm really excited about. It looks like something different that I haven't made before, so I'm excited to try it and see how it turns out. Hopefully I can do it correctly, but we will see. But yeah, so for now I'm just going to put everything up, and then I will bring you back when we're taking that out and then putting the pumpkin pie in. So here is the pecan pie bars. So with the pecan pie bars, what you want to do is let them cool completely, before you cut into them, or they'll just be too messy to want to deal with. And if you want to get like a clean cut without having to mess it all up, then you can put it in the fridge for about an hour or so, and after it cools a little bit, it will help get you those clean cuts to make it that more pretty. So you can cut them up and serve them on a dish if you want, or if you just wanted to serve it like this, you could do that as well. But since we're not actually going to Thanksgiving right now, that's just for us, so I'm just going to leave it there, let it cool, and then later, whenever it cools completely, we will get into it. So now we preheated our oven to 375. I took my pie crust out of the fridge, and now what we're just going to do is add this filling all into the pie pan. And this will fill it up. And then you want to put this in the oven for about 40 to 55 minutes. But you still want the middle to be a little jiggly, because you'll still take it out and it will form together better. If you overcook it, it will crack. However, I'm bad about overcooking them. Even if it's still jiggly in the middle, for some reason it still cracks. But I'm okay with that. I can just put some Cool Whip or whipped cream or whatever on top of it, and it will still be just as tasty. And whenever mine cracked last time, it still tasted really good. Just had a little crack in it. So now we're just going to put this in the oven and wait till this gets done, and then we'll move on to our salted caramel cookies. Now it's time for our salted caramel cookies. So now in a medium-sized bowl or whatever, you want to add in 3 cups of flour. A half teaspoon of salt, and then we want a 4th teaspoon of baking soda, and then a 4th teaspoon of cream of tartar. Which is crazy. Whenever I bought this, I bought it for one recipe and I never knew I would use it this much. But I use it in quite a bit of stuff. Okay. And then we will whisk this together. Then we will set this to the side and get a larger bowl. To our large bowl, you want to add in a stick of butter, 2/3 cups of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, but I only had canola, so that's what I used. And then we're just gonna beat this until it is smooth. So now to our bowl, after that is smooth, you wanna add in 1 egg, a tablespoon of milk, and then we also want a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And then we're going to beat this together as well. So after that, then we're going to slowly add in our dry ingredients. So we're just going to do a little bit at a time. So now what we're going to do is get 2 heaping tablespoons of the cookie dough, and we're going to roll it into a ball. And we're going to place it on our baking sheet that we have lined with our silicone mat. Okay. This dough feels really nice and smooth, you guys. I hope these are really good. Okay. What kinds of desserts do y'all plan on making for Thanksgiving? Are y'all just doing the usual? Are y'all adding some new things? What do y'all have going on? I always like to know what other people have going on or what other people are making in their house for the holidays. It's always cool to see. I think I'm gonna add 2 in the middle. I don't think they would spread that much, but you know, I'm always wrong usually, so we're just gonna play it on the safe side and put 2 more in between. Okay. So for this last one, we'll see how it turns out. I don't know if it's quite enough for, well, it feels like it's enough. Not too much less than these other ones. So I guess we'll just see how it turns out, because it wasn't quite 2 tablespoons. Okay, so now what we want to do with these is we want to put an indent. So just use something small to try to do an indent in them. Because this is where our caramel is going to sit. Okay, we'll do the same with the other ones. So now we're going to put these in the oven at a 350-degree oven for 8 to 10 minutes. But I have my oven at 375. But since these are cookies, I'm pretty confident that it'll be fine. And I'm just going to do on the low end, I'm probably going to do about 6 to 7 minutes at 375 and just check them frequently to see how they do. So we took our cookies out of the oven, we let them cool, like we took them out, let them stay on the sheet, baking sheet for about 5 minutes, and then we transferred them to a cooling rack, and now we're going to wait for them to completely cool off. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and start unwrapping your caramels. So you'll need 2.5 ounces of caramels, which I've already got those all in here. And now I'm just gonna wait for those to cool completely before I start doing this, because I don't want to have my caramel harden or anything like that while I'm waiting for the cookies to cool off. So I'm gonna set this to the side. We still got a couple more minutes on our pumpkin pie, and I will just bring you back whenever we get ready to do the caramels. So I took the pumpkin pie out, and you can see it's still, let me see if I can do it. It's still pretty jiggly, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. It's been in there for about 46 minutes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it out because I don't want it to crack, and it looks like it's gonna crack anyway. I can see it. So we're just gonna take it out and let it do its thing. And with this, you want to let it cool completely until, completely cool it. And then you wanna put it in the fridge. It's best to leave it in the fridge for overnight because it helps the flavors marinate a little bit more and things like that. So that's what you can do, or you can just let it cool for a couple hours and eat it if you would like. So our cookies are almost cooled. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is start on my caramel. So we just added 2 tablespoons of milk in here, and now we're going to microwave it. We're going to start doing it with 30 seconds and then drop it to 15 seconds until it's completely melted. So our caramel is melted, and now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of salt. And we're going to mix this up. Set this aside. I'm going to get my cookies. So here are the cookies. And now what we want to do is just pour this caramel mixture onto our cookies. So now we're going to add some flaky salt onto the top of these. Okay, just like that, they are done. We're just going to let this harden up, and then they will be ready to eat. Okay friends, that is it for today's video. I got those 3 recipes done. As always, I will link those down in the description box down below for you if you want to try one of them as well. They all turned out super good. I'm so excited and can't wait for my family to try them as well. But I hope everybody can figure out what they're making for dessert for Thanksgiving. And let me know in the comments what you are making for Thanksgiving dessert as well. Till next time, friends.